Assalamu alaikum, namaste, and welcome everybody to the Newsa with your favorite host and host Jennifer Rogers. And if you're new to our channel, let me tell you what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to share this video with all your friends and family so they are aware about all the things happening in Qatar and all around the world. And with that, we are also available on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where we post a lot of interesting content just for you. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please go ahead and do so. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is also called Qatar Day, and do not forget to check out our other channel, which is qatarday.com. And with this, I have about 3 local news and 2 international, so let's just get into it. The first one being Qatar CID have now arrested an Arab man specialized in stealing valuables from cars. So yes, you have to be very careful. The Criminal Investigation Department arrested a man accused for multiple thefts from cars in different parts of the country. Following reports of items being stolen from cars, a specialized team was formed who conducted the search basically, and investigation and focused on the accused. After the interrogation with the necessary legal permissions, the man of an Arab nationality confessed that he was carrying out these thefts in residential areas, targeting cars, specifically those not closed or locked properly. Stolen items were found in possessions and were seized. The case is now referred to the authorities for further action. The authorities in the Ministry of Interior called on people to take necessary preventive measures to secure vehicles and the items inside from the theft by following the safety guidelines. Now, the ministry also reminded people to lock their vehicles properly, not to leave their belongings in a visible manner inside the car, and to avoid parking vehicles in isolated areas, urging everyone to report any suspected cases on the helpline 999. Now, with this, Qatar has now obtained a Japanese drug proven very effective against COVID-19. Around 1,500 COVID-19 patients treated successfully with this drug. Qatar has obtained a Japanese drug that has proven to be very effective in treating COVID-19, Al Arab newspaper reported. Now, the Dr. Asad Ahmad Khalil, the commander of medicine services in the Ministry of Defense, told the Daily that the drug has been provided to be effective on 1,500 people with severe symptoms, and all of them have been fully recovered. Now, the drug was manufactured by a Japanese company, and many lives would have been lost but for the treatment by this drug. Adding to that, it would further sorted by the plasma treatment. Now, the health authorities had previously said that Qatar has signed agreements with several pharmaceutical companies to make available in country the COVID-19 drug as soon as it is manufactured. Now, Qatar has also one of the lowest COVID-19 death rates in the world. Now, also said that 5 medical units of the Ministry of Defense were equipped with PCR testing device to conduct random testing. The results of this test can be known in 24 hours, he added. Let's get to the third local update of today, which is Al Rayyan Stadium achieves prestigious sustainability ratings and has been highly recommended for its sustainable features by the Gulf Organization of Research and Development, that is GORD. The FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 tournament venue achieved excellent sustainability ratings for its design, constructions, management and energy efficiency in line with the Global Sustainable Assessment System. The following certificates were awarded after the stadium's final audit, and the 40,000 capacity stadium will be one of the 8 venues used during the Qatar FIFA World Cup that's going to happen in 2022. It is in the final stage of construction and soon will become the 4th venue to be officially opened following the Khalifa International, Al Janoud International and the Education Society the Education City. The remaining of the stadiums, Al Bayt, Al Thumama, Ras Al Abu and Lusail are all set to open well in advance of the tournament, which will kickstart from the 21st of November 2022. Now, built on site of the Hamad bin Ali Stadium, Al Rayyan will host 7 matches during 2022. After the tournament, the stadium's capacity will be reduced to 20,000 following the removal of the modular upper tier. Now, the excess seats will be donated to a football project overseas. The stadium will also become the home for popular Qatar Star League Al Rayyan Sports Club. Now, the materials from the demolished stadium will either used in the construction of a new venue or will be recycled. Constructions and the demolishing of waste will be kept to a minimum, and with the project achieving a landfill diversion rate about 90%. In addition, the stadium is just a short walk from Al Rifa station on the Green Line of Doha Metro, making it easy for fans to get to the venue quicker and faster. More than 50% of the project in terms of the cost was delivered by the local construction people, while 15% of the total material will be diverted from the recycled sources. Energy efficient strategies means the stadium is 20% more efficient compared to the other venues. In addition, the stadium is using 20% less water due to the low flow fixtures, recycled waters from irrigations and landscaping on with the native plants that required minimal water. Now, during the legacy mode, Al Rayyan will be home to the recreational facilities of the local community, including sports facilities, cafes and walkways. The glowing facade is comprised of patterns that characterize different aspects of Qatar: the importance of family, the beauty of the desert, the native flora and fauna, and as well as the local and international trade. A fifth shape, a shield, bringing together all that and representing the strength and unity that the particular are relevant to the proud desert city of Al Rayyan. Now with this, let me get to the international update of the day, which is 18 killed, 40 injured in Thailand's after train collide with bus traveling from Samut Prakan to a temple. Now, at least 18 people were killed and more than 40 people were injured in Thailand on Sunday when a freight train crashed into a bus taking passengers to a religious ceremony. Now, the morning around 50 kilometers end of capital of Bangkok toppled the bus on its side and sheared off the part of its roof. Now, dozens of passengers were injured, were rushed to the nearby medical facility for the treatment, and 4 are in critical condition as the hospital told, and 8 remain under observation, that's in ICU, out of 23 admitted in the hospital, they told the reporters. The State Railway of Thailand government confirmed to the site of the crash to the reporters. Footage shared by the government department shows that the bus was edging from the road onto train tracks before a blue cargo train slammed into its side. Now, early photos were taken by the rescue shows that the gun, metal and the debris with bodies lying by the tracks and people belonging scattered all around the scene, which is a very horrific scene. Rescue workers lifted the injured on the stretchers and sent it to the nearby ambulance, and a crane arrived early in the afternoon to lift the vehicles off the track so that the police could have better access to the scenario. There were more than 60 passengers in the chartered bus traveling from the neighborhood and going to a temple nearby for a religious ceremony, said by the governor. They were planning to offer yellow robes to monks, a traditional ceremony held within a month of the end of the Buddhist Lent, the reporters informed. Now with this, let me get to the last international update of the day, which is the truce is too fragile. Pope Francis called for a dialogue as the ceasefire under severe strain. Amidst a fragile peace at the region, Pope Francis, speaking after the prayers in Rome on Sunday, said that the truce proves to be too fragile, the truce that they're having. He said that I pray and invite you to pray for the victims, for all those lives are in danger, and adding that fighting back should be resolved not through the use of force and arms but through dialogues and negotiation. There were reports on Sunday of civilization area by both sides seeing a situation where reportedly calmer. But the Pope's prayer come as Azerbaijan and Armenia accused each other for violating the ceasefire agreement. The two sides have been met in Moscow as Russia's negotiator, led by the foreign minister, was able to bid a shaky ceasefire even as the fighting continued on the ground. Now, Azerbaijan's foreign minister said that there was an overnight shelling at Ganja and on Saturday leading to the death of at least 7 people with several wounded, although the Armenian defense minister said that it was an absolute lie. Now, Azerbaijan also accused Armenia for launching an unsuccessful rocket attack on an hydroelectric power station. The fighting between the two nations have been worse since 1991 to 94, and which has at least 30,000 people were killed in this. Now, both countries have gained independence after the breakup of the former Soviet Union in 1991. Now, with this, I'm done with all the updates for today. Thank you so much for logging on to Qatar Day. Keep loving, keep supporting, keep watching Qatar Day, the pulse of the nation. Me, your host, and those Jennifer Rogers, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, remember to look after yourself. As I always say, it's very important that you stay healthy, you stay safe, and you look after yourself. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Khuda Hafiz. Bye-bye.